Hi, this is Karen Launchbaugh at the University of Idaho. I want to give you a few tips for the assignment on cover, which is assignment 5, that is due in the coming week, and it requires that you look up some published research and you cite it correctly. So here's just a few tips to get you started. First of all, on the assignment we've given you several places that you can go to look for articles, and we also ask that you would download the PDFs. You need to find two, download those 2 PDFs and upload them to the with the assignment so that we can see what you did. But here's some ways to do it. Here's some kind of tips for how to find and cite articles. One of the sites that we recommended is to go to the Journal of Range Management. One of the reasons I think this is a good one is because you can actually download the PDFs. This is an archive of articles from 1948 to 2004, so you can download the articles. But for example, let's say that I got over here to the search mechanism and I just put in, let's say, ground cover. You might find a series of articles, and let's see, there's quite a few here. You could find one that looks interesting, maybe about erosion or about wildfire, leafy spurge. All of these you might try and see if they actually were using methods that related to vegetation assessment. Let's see. I know Barbara Allen Diaz, so I'm going to see what this study about spring grazing is about. I also have a project on spring grazing, so all I have to do is click on the PDF, and it will find the document and put it in a PDF viewer. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look in the methods to see if this really was a study about cover. A lot of times they'll have cover in the methods, and they won't actually have done vegetation sampling. They might have simulated, or they might have used remote sensing. But let's see, here's vegetation sampling, and I'm looking at hits that they have. It says that they did a line point method on this. So that is certainly one of the methods that we've talked about in class, and I think it's one that we could use. So this article looks like it would be a good one. So I'm interested in the article. I'm going to look at the methods. I'm going to try to find out what they were looking at, and I can see here that they actually did have cover. They're looking at total herbaceous cover in ungrazed UG, light grazed LG, and moderate grazing MG from 1992 to 97. And the only problem I have with this graph is that I can't tell what UG, LG, and MG are unless I go to the document. So again, a graph should stand alone. It should be clear, and I would put in the figure what UG, LG, and MG are. In the assignment, you're going to be asked to make a figure, so pay attention to what figures look good for you and what are very complete. Okay, so let's say I want to use this article. All I have to do to download it is to click the arrow to download, and I can save it somewhere on my document or on my computer and then upload it later. One other trick, you need to find a way to find out what the citation is. I'm going to grab this title right now. On the assignment, you'll see that we've given a citation guide. This is one that I developed for another class of mine, Range 456, but basically I give you pretty full guidelines. Here's how you would cite a book chapter. I prefer scientific journal articles, so you are going to be wanting to look for scientific articles for this assignment. Here's a few examples. When you cite these in the text, you would just put them in parentheses. Otherwise, you're going to use this format. The format that I want on the assignments is the authors, the year, the title of the article, and the location. So authors, year, title, location. Putting those things in some order to help me find the assignment. Again, I focus mostly on journal articles for this assignment, but there are other forms that you can use. One thing you cannot use is class notes. You have to find something you can submit. So think about journal articles. An easy way, you can follow these guidelines and be as careful as you can to have the author, and in this case their initials, the year, the full title, capitalizing each word, and the location of the source. Another kind of easy way to do this is that I do accept APA as a format. So let's say I took that article that I just looked up and I cut and pasted the title into Google Scholar. So scholar.google.com, hit search, there's the article by Allen Diaz and her colleague Jackson. I don't know, maybe you've never noticed this little cite button here, but if you hit cite, they'll have these different formats. Again, APA is the one that I like the most because it has roughly the same thing. It has the author, the year, the title, and the location. So I'm going to grab that, copy it, and I can paste it into my report. And the only thing that this does not include is it doesn't include the volume number. So it has the page numbers, but I would want the volume, and I found that it was volume 53 in this case. So that's the one thing that's missing. Again, I need to be able to find these articles, whether that you use the exact citation format that I've created for the class or whether you use this APA is fine with me. Either of those work. So that's a format that you could use in your assignment. Also going back to Google Scholar, that's also a good way to find articles. What if I put something in like line intercept shrubs? Line intercept shrublands. Let's see what articles might come up. Okay, here's one about shrublands and grasslands. Here's one about mapping. Here's methods for quantifying severity of fires. Well, that sounds interesting for those of you who are interested in fire, so I'm going to clip that. And I can look at the article. Here it's in plant ecology, and I can see what they did. And in this case, measurements were made 1 by 1 meter in the 22 by 3 meter rectangular surrounding. So it sounds promising. I would just need to go down into the material methods. There's a site description, and it's loading some more. And I would need to look to see if this actually is an article that includes a method for cover. Only problem with this is if you want this article, you can't download it from this source. And we really do want to see the information in the article. You can't download it without paying for it, or you can go to the university library and look in the journal Plant Ecology, 1998, Volume 1. So you would just want to take that information and save it somewhere. You always save things in a notepad. Hold that later. And then you could go to the University of Idaho Library. Two things here you could do to find articles. You could search something such as databases related to range and forestry. The advantage of searching inside of this, the University of Idaho libraries, because if they have the article, you'll be able to click on it and go right to it. If you found an article in another source and you need to find it in the library, of course you would go to journals. And remember, we were looking at the journal Ecology. And there's probably several journals called Ecology, Advances in Ecology, Ecology. So I'm wanting to go to the old E. And I would want one, the title that begins with ecology. Anyway, you can kind of figure this out and play with it as you want. But again, the point is, if you find an article and you have a source, but you need to have the downloaded article so you can assign it to your assignment, then you need to go to the library and find that in their database so that you can connect it to us and send it to us. So again, starting at the university library might be an easy way to do it, because if you find things in these databases, generally you can have direct access to the article. One other place that's pretty easy to find articles is the Range Science Information System. It's a pretty handy search mechanism. Let's see, what if I put cover, canopy cover of shrublands. If I search for that, what would I find? There are no items. Okay, let's see, cover shrublands. Please try again. Okay, let's just go with just canopy cover. Okay, yeah, now we come up with several articles. And by looking at this article summary, we can start to see if this is an article. Here's one on post-fire in sagebrush. That looks pretty interesting. When I click on the title, I get more about the article. But again, all I'm getting is a citation to get the PDF. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so sometimes I can get the PDF, but more often than not, I will only get the abstract. And in this case, that's what I get. So I'd have to go to the University of Idaho Library to get the full article. Or, since this was in Rangeland Ecology and Management, I could go to the University of Idaho, or I'm sorry, the University of Arizona archive for the Rangeland Ecology and Management Journal. So those are some things that you can do. You can find articles with With Google Scholar, again, I like the way that you can cite things in Google Scholar just by putting them in and hitting the cite button and seeing what's there. Sometimes you have to complete it. Again, I use APA. So that's one way to get citation. Otherwise, use this citation guide. And there's tips for how to use different resources in the library, the Range Science Information System, the Journal of Range Management, and Google Scholar to find articles. So good luck. Hope you can find some good scientific journal articles that have to do with cover methods.